Hello, good morning, and good night. Thank you so much for tuning in to Mama J Love's Peppermint Tea series. If this is your first time joining me, thank you so much for being here while I go over devotions. If you're returning, thank you so much. A bunch of times. I really appreciate you, and I'm hoping that it's all helpful and it continues to aid in your life journey to God and through God and for God and with God going forward. Today is going to be a tough devotion for me, but it is a great reminder on the importance of not being fearful in the Lord's name or believing in Jesus as I do. So grab your tea, your peppermint tea, or whatever refreshing beverage you have for the day, and join me as I jump into my devotion for the week. If you had a great day at church, that's wonderful. If you weren't able to go, it happens. But let's go ahead and crack open our Bible and take a moment for ourselves to reconnect with God in preparation for the week and whatever else may come today. So, the scripture we are going to read from is in Mark, and it is going to be Mark chapter 8, verses 31 through 38. And this one is a hard one for a lot of people. It's not the only one, but it's definitely a hard one because many of us have been the seeds that fell by the wayside, and a lot of us were not planted in good soil, and we're trying to get back to the right path, or we are just discovering that we were planted in the cracks and not necessarily the good dirt. So we need to fix that for our generations to come. So let's read. Again, very hard for me. I'm going to try not to be too emotional, but I may be emotional. So in verse 31, Jesus begins. He then began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and the teachers of the law, and that he must be killed and after 3 days rise again. He spoke plainly about this, and Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. Rebuke means that he highly disapproved, he criticized him, and all those things. Like the devil took a hold, like everything that Jesus was trying to tell him was the truth, and he just said, no, we don't need to do it that way, and all whatever he said. So I don't know exactly what he said, but he criticized what Jesus said plainly. So if Jesus said to him, I have to suffer and be rejected, Peter spoke against that or criticized the reasoning for that. But when Jesus turned, after he looked at Peter and was like, excuse me? So when Jesus turned and looked at his disciples, he rebuked Peter. So him and Peter were going back and forth, and Jesus basically said to him, get behind me, Satan. It was at that point, it wasn't Peter by himself. Peter was no longer with Jesus, he was with Satan. And so Jesus said to Peter, get behind me, Satan. You do not have in mind the concerns of God, but merely human concerns. So at that point in time, Peter had let Satan step in. He was open. So Jesus said, oh no, we're not playing here today, Satan, because you don't know the truth. Satan is the deceiver, he's the liar, and he will take you if you are ready to be corrupted. So hold on to Jesus, walk with Jesus. Anyway, so then Jesus called the crowd to him along with his disciples and said, and this is something to carry every day, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves What does it mean to deny yourself? To deny yourself is to refuse to admit the truth or existence of something. So, I don't deny Jesus because everything that he ever taught was not to hinder me, but to help me, to grow, to be a better person. He's always practiced about being kind to the poor, that God's kingdom is here. He's always been encouraging people to think beyond themselves, not to be selfish. So, then he continued, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves. So, refuse to live in lies and deceit. Whoever believes in Jesus and the purpose of Jesus must take up their cross and follow him. Taking up your cross means be prepared to suffer, carry your burden. What comes with Jesus is that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by many, right? Teachers of the law, priests who might not believe in Jesus, elders who don't believe in Jesus, all the people who don't believe in Jesus. And so, because I believe in Jesus, I'm fully aware that there are people who don't believe in him, but at the end of the day, I do. And if that bothers somebody, there's nothing I can do about it but tell them why I believe in Jesus. So the reason why I believe in Jesus is because I know that in this life, I'm going to suffer. I know that I'm going to get rejected by people because they don't believe in his teachings. And I know, but I know how helpful his teachings have been to my life. When you take the time to read the Bible for yourself and tune into what he's basically trying to teach you, a lot of what Jesus is trying to teach you, and again, like I said, crack open the Bible and take a look for yourself. You go to the New Testament, you can read Mark or Matthew. I know that a lot of people debate on whether it's true or not, but I'm like, look at the words, read them. None of it is to hinder you. It is to guide you to a betterment of yourself and to not be selfish in a selfish world. But anyway, so like I said, the teachings that I have read of Jesus on my own end and from what I'm learning in church have allowed me to apply that to my life, and I feel saved. So that is why I believe in Jesus. He saves me, he teaches me, and I know that I'm promised a place in heaven so long as I believe in his teachings and his existence. So anyway, so let me read it back because I know I got caught up. So like I said, this is going to make me emotional. Then he called the crowd to him along with his disciples and said, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it. Okay, so if you try to save your life by denying the existence of Jesus. So if someone says, oh, do you believe in Jesus? And you say, no, I don't. But you know in your heart, and this is not to people who don't believe in Jesus. This is to people who do say that they believe in Jesus. They read his teachings. They understand it. They get it. They're following it. And somebody asks you how to explain how you feel about Jesus. And you say, oh, no, I don't know that man. Because you're scared to die for him and his existence and his teaching. And I admit, it's been tricky because we go to college or we go to schools and everybody's like, I don't believe in Jesus because, they just be coming up with that stuff, right? Like they just pull that stuff out of nowhere. Why would you believe in someone who allows people to die? Or why do you believe in someone who allows killing? Or why do you believe in someone? I'm like, it's not that he allows it. It's just what it is. It's what's going on in this world because people don't believe in not being selfish. Selfish people honestly go out there and do some things. Selfish people have done a lot, but I mean, I'm not going to go into it because it can go on forever. There's a lot of ways that humanity has become very selfish, be it towards nature, be it towards other people, be it towards a lot of different things. I'm not going to go into it today, but just realize like we have all fallen short, but the goal is to remember who came before us and try to teach us how to do better. So again, it's not easy, but to be fearful that you are going to lose your life because you believe in Jesus Christ is the biggest challenge most people have when it comes to claiming Christianity or claiming the belief in Jesus Christ. Because some people don't call themselves Christians. They just say they believe in Jesus. I get it. It works because I've gone back and forth between the wording and not. I would like to say that I'm a believer of Jesus Christ and a follower of Jesus Christ as best as I can. I am still learning. I'm still growing. But yes, the goal is to be a follower of Jesus Christ. I believe in his teachings and the importance of them. It took me a long time to understand that in my brain because I took it to like a really dark place. Because when you're anxious, you think the worst, right? So you got all of this fear like, oh, if I don't believe in God, it's not about that. Fear God. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, the goal is to fear God because he is the judge that we face at the end if we so believe. If you believe in nothing, that's all more power to you. But I believe in that I have to face God at the end of my life. So I want to be able to tell him that I wasn't selfish while I walked this planet. I want him to like, okay, think of it as like YouTube. If he goes and replays the video of my life and I'm just standing there, like, if I'm in the courthouse, I'm just standing there, he's replaying the video of my life. Was it more so that I helped others and talked about God and talked about Jesus? Or was it more so that everything I did was for my own benefit, for my family, for my people, for whatever? Or was it for Jesus's people? Did I help out people who were calling out to God? Did I help out people who were trying to reach God? Did I help out people who had little faith, but they could use a push? Or did I help out? You know what I'm saying? Like, did I talk about the goodness of God? Did I? And it's not in that all that I do, but how I am. Was I, you know what I'm saying? Was I open to God? Things like that. I mean, at the end of the day, I just fear God. Like, that's where it is. And that's where it ends at. I know he's going to look at my actions. I know he's going to look at my behaviors. And I know he's going to look at my spirit. So if I'm sitting up there I'm telling nothing but lies while I'm on this planet, like lying the whole way till the end of times, like lying about the littlest thing, then I know that I don't believe in Jesus. So I don't want to spend the rest of my life on this earth lying. So the truth is, I believe in Jesus. I don't want to be selfish, and I want him to help me. I am poor in spirit. Okay? I'm poor in spirit because I know that I have been weak. I know that I am going to be weak, and I know that I cannot grant myself mercy or forgiveness. It comes from a higher power than me. So I'm going to continue to work on being less self-centered, less selfish, and try to talk about Jesus and God to those who want to hear about it. Your spirit has to be open to God. Same way your spirit can be open to the devil, your spirit has to be open to God. And trust, he be knocking. I know that some people tune him out, but he be knocking. But let's go back in. Sorry. As I told you, this devotion was going to be emotional because it took me a long time for it to resonate and for God to give me the wisdom to understand it beyond my understanding. And it continues. But whoever wants to save their life will lose it. But whoever loses their life for me and for the gospel will save it. So if somebody decides to take your life, to torment you, to make you suffer because you you believe in Jesus, this world might be over for you, but there is a promised world for you. Meaning God has plans for you beyond this life. Please know that. And everything that you do in Jesus and God's name in this life makes so much more of a difference. Think about the people who have been bold enough to call on to any of their beliefs before they left this world. You're still hearing about them today in history. You're still learning about them. The Bible has gone through generations. It's a lasting effect. So even if you're not quite there with believing in heaven yet, know that your behavior has a lasting effect on this earth, in your circle, in your community, in your family unit. It has a lasting effect. What kind of effect do you want to leave on God's people, the lambs, people in need? And so it continues. So verse 36 talks about, what good is it for someone to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul? So if you chase everything in life without God, or without faith in Jesus, without faith in God, without belief in Jesus, where does your soul belong? What do you believe in? That your purpose has ended once you complete this world? Or that you just came here for the brief experience? Like what was your intention? That's just a question to ask yourself. What was your intention? If you gain the whole world, like you make racks and racks of money, or you do racks and racks of adventures, or you do racks and racks of things like that, but you have not really engaged in acts of Jesus' teachings. And again, like I said, Jews and Gentiles alike, that means everybody in this world is going to do acts of God. But are you aware of them? Like, do you realize that you are helping people or hindering people? So for all of your actions, are they bringing you closer to think beyond yourself, or are they making you think more about just yourself? And I'm not going to give you answers on which one is more beneficial to you, but just know that if you gain the whole world but forfeit your soul, what good is it? If you get everything you wanted in this life, but you have not helped other people, and you're not being kind or understanding, then do you really believe in God? Do you believe in your soul? What do you believe in? I'm just questions. I'm not judging. I'm just asking the same question that is asked. It is not accusing anybody. It's just saying, what good is it for you to gain the whole world, to conquer this world? So this is to conquerors out there, people who are sitting on top and looking at everybody like they have no purpose, like nobody else has purpose. Basically, that's what it is. You get to the top and you're looking at everybody and treating them as they are beneath you. There's no more service to anybody except yourself. You sit up there, you have all the servants, but you have not served your servants, meaning you are not treating them as human beings, you are treating them as animals. What does it profit you? What does it profit your soul? Yes, you have profited in your pockets, but what have you profited in your soul is where I see that going. And then it goes, or what can anyone give in exchange for their soul? So if you fill your soul with just being about you and nobody else, what can you exchange for that? What can you show that would help anybody else? If you say I in every conversation, and you're not God, you're not the higher power, you didn't create yourself, and you say I did this, I did this, how does that help anybody? How does that help anybody whatsoever? How can you exchange that with someone? How can you share that? You can't share that with anybody. And it continued. If anyone is ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, the Son of Man will be ashamed of them when he comes in his Father's glory with the holy angel. Again, this message is for the believers in Jesus Christ. If you have denied yourself, meaning that you're not only about you, and you're denying the truth that Jesus shared. You say you believe in Jesus, so that means you believe in the truth of his words. If you are ashamed to believe in Jesus' truths that he left for you in this adulterous and sinful generation, a lot of people say they don't know what sin is, or they say they're not sinning or whatever, or feeling adulterous. But we know, as believers and followers in Jesus Christ, we know what it means to be adulterous. We know what those are. We know what sinful means. Partaking in things that we should not do. You know what they are. I'm not going to sit up here and go through what they are. You know what they are if you say you believe in Jesus. And if you want to know what they are, you can go ahead and study your Bible, learn a bit more. But again, the biggest thing that Jesus teaches is to love God. So making idols out of everything is not believing in God. Just saying. To love God and to love others as you love yourself. That means when you find the truth within yourself, sharing that truth with others, and then remembering the importance of the truth of God, you're already aware of where you're going to go and how far you can be taken in the sinful world. Sinful world, people believe in themselves and idols. And it says the Son of Man will be ashamed of them when he comes in his Father's glory with the holy angel. So upon Jesus' return to sit with God on Judgment Day, and we go through our lives with them at the end of this life, or when he calls us all up, who are you going to fear? The devil? Or are you going to fear God? I fear God because I just want him to, love me. Like I know he loves me, but I want him to love me for eternity. On that note, you have to learn, not you have to, but it's good to take time to read the word, pull it into your spirit, ask God for clarity on things you don't understand. Well, some of it is testimonies. It's testimonies to guide you and show you examples of what could happen when you're following God, and what could happen when you don't follow God. And there are battles in there. I know a lot of people fear reading about the battles because they're like, oh, the killing and things like that. A lot of it was during a time period of war. A lot of it was during a time period of a lot of bloodshed. I mean, there's so many stories in the Bible where people back then were killing children, murdering, and it's still going on in other countries here. And those are places that have not known that God is not about that. Like, we're supposed to keep the kids going, multiply, teach them about God. And there are people legit killing kids because they don't want them to be about God, and they don't want them to be about certain things. I don't know all of it. I'm not here to go into politics whatsoever, but I'm just saying, in certain places, there's war and bloodshed still going on, even here, because people don't think outside of themselves, or they're seeking revenge on everything. Revenge for this, revenge for that. It's not solving anything. But at the end of the day, like I said, if you are a believer of Christ, you already know what he's going to call you to. Well, you already know he's going to call you to do a role. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, and you don't know what it is. You just have to prepare. And the best way to prepare is to guide your soul. So don't try to gain the whole world. Try to share your spirit, your energy, and time and effort with people who are in need of your spirit and energy. Okay, people who, if a child comes up to you and say, "What is God?" or "Who is God?" you already have a plan to teach them. If a grown-up is feeling a little bit confused about struggles in their lives, that's the best time to jump in and tell them about God. If they ask you, being open to teach the people, because remember, people came to Jesus. It wasn't that he sought out the people, he was just open to teaching them. And I'm still learning about that, so I could be wrong, but from what I read, it looks like Jesus performed a miracle and the people came to him to see more, to learn more, to see where his spirit resonated. And he was always helping others or teaching them how to not be caught up in themselves, chase things just for themselves. Basically, how not to be a part of the sinful and adulterous world. So he was always open to teaching people how to step outside of that world. And I'm grateful for that, because he's pulled me out of many struggles, of many situations. Still suffering, because I know there's more to come that I'll have to do, because I am a believer in Jesus Christ. But now I'm doing it with purpose. So I hope that this was helpful and not hindering. If you ever have any questions, you can find me on Instagram and shoot me a DM. I do not know everything. I'm not a pastor. I'm just going through my devotions and my own teachings and my experience. And I've always prayed that God gives me the clarity to talk to you all before I start. So I hope that you have a great week. Thank you again for tuning in. I just started the Tea Party series, so make sure you check that out on my YouTube channel, as well as my Spotify or Anchor. And it was very fun. I had my first guest, who's my friend Katie, and I'll definitely be having more guests coming soon. My goal is next week. But I'll talk to you in the next one. Take care for now.